Secrets of the Sussexes, on air. The irony of the week is as simple as a tabloid headline. The moment Harry set foot on British soil wearing the face of "I've rethought everything," he ran straight into what he still hasn't understood: trust that no longer exists. He flew in for 4 days, mapped the right stops, warmed the air with talk of good works and a readiness to talk, and under that gloss sat the very list of conditions that cancels any attempt to see his father just as a son. If anyone still hoped for a family peace shot, here's the unfiltered reality: a meeting is only possible on Harry's terms. And those terms guarantee every palace door stays shut. It began with the usual set pieces. An LA arrival trailed by cameras for a man who craves privacy. A private visit to his grandmother's grave that, oddly enough, reached the media faster than the rush hour tube. The modest public face at Wellchild, where he can say the right things, beam at kids, joke with balloons, peek from behind volunteers, and all of it captured from 5 angles, because like it or not, Harry's charity is always also a media tool. Warm captions roll in, bait for a new tone. And then the fairy tale collapses as the trip's main paper peeks out from under the smiles. 3 conditions that erase the meaning of reconciliation. Condition 1. Full personal security for himself, Meghan, and the children while in the UK, paid by the king. Not the taxpayer. How generous, let my father pay. On paper, neat, not on the country. In practice, leverage dressed as concern. Want to see the grandchildren? Sign the check. Want safety? Pay for our version of safety, because anyone else's won't do. It isn't a request, it's a turnstile. Condition 2. Full press control by the palace. Not let's avoid paparazzi hunts, which any sane person supports. But manage the picture, shape the optics, keep the press away, and if they come, only on our script. In other words, turn any family contact into content that works for us. That's not a father meeting a son, that's a set with dad as a prop. And of course he doesn't know another way. Doors in his life have opened to cameras for years. It's how he confirms his still central. Condition 3. The breaker even for the softest heart. Meghan must be addressed and treated as Her Royal Highness during any visits and contacts, curtsies, forms of address, ritual respect, the very thing she once happily lampooned on TV. By all accounts, this Meghan clause is the showstopper. For William, it sounds like never. For the king, it lands like a blow to the memory of the late Queen, under whom the Her Royal Highness decision was agreed and final. Demanding back a symbolic status after torching the bridges that supported it isn't about love or safety. It's a test. Do you have the nerve to swallow this too? Where's the father in all this? Where fathers end up when duty and blood collide, in a room that is always too tight and too quiet. He may want to see his son, human. He may miss his grandchildren, inevitable. He may feel frail age, illness, life. But a king has no right to be only a father in public. Every softness becomes a rule for the institution, not a one-off exception. Sign a check under an ultimatum today, and tomorrow it's the norm. The loudest privacy advocate dictates privacy terms to the palace. Monarchies don't survive that. Now the psychology. People trust gestures that demand nothing in return. Arrive without a list. Call without a press release. Enter without a camera. Hug your father without protocol. Say sorry without a mic. Harry pulls the spiral the other way. I'll come if security is as before. If the picture is as required. If Meghan is restored to what she herself once shrugged off at our request, on our terms. That's not a conversation. It's a contract for attention. Dressing it up as care is a weak joke. Care is taking off the crown of demands and showing up in a beanie from the corner shop. His defenders will find the usual lines: it's dangerous for him in Britain, the press is hostile, he's protecting his family, the palace owes them. We can list forever the reasons a grown man can't perform a basic human act without a 3-page legal annex. But here's the filter that clears every myth. What would you do if it were a neighbor dad with a diagnosis, not a king? You'd go. No conditions package would cross your mind, because love isn't an upgrade to business class, it's the ability to walk. Then there's William. His stance boils down to 2 words: no point. No point meeting when any word might be tomorrow's pull quote. No point happening to cross paths when every happenstance on the other side is a pre-baked shot. No point talking details when details were spilled in a book, a podcast, a series, and a dozen interviews that turned private seconds into public hours. To sit at a table, you restore predictable quiet. That takes years, not weeks. It isn't cruelty. It's boundary hygiene. Note how fast the heroic charity narrative empties out. Yes, well, child is good. Yes, kids need attention and money. Yes, he's adept at warm moments on those stages. But charity's truth lives in the after. What remains besides footage? What did you leave beyond quotes? How much time did you carve out not to support the ceremony but to support the system? So far the main deposit is into the optics jar. Not a crime, just too little to claim a changed man. Don't forget Meghan. Her absence this trip is another tidy loop. Against a conditions list that demands address her as Her Royal Highness, her not being there works symbolically. I'm here even when I'm not. She stress tests the system remotely through demands on paper and signals via sources. Perfect if the goal isn't to meet, but to codify not meeting as the next grievance. The softer the palace replies, the louder her silence looks, because in this play, Meghan's quiet is always active. Here's the number almost no one says out loud. Whatever security costs, flights cost, leaks cost, the most expensive currency is trust. You can't buy it, beg it, force it, tuck it into protocol, or pull it from an archive. You bank it slowly and spend it rarely. Harry built a career on the opposite, burning trust at the pace of a content plan. Now he offers a deal: you pay for my security, crop my bad frames, swallow my truth about my wife's title, and we'll call it reconciliation. Sorry, that's not reconciliation. It's conflict rebranded. Everything else is secondary, whether the palace shifts the news agenda to Catherine, whether William steps out the same day, whether there's another chance memorial crossing. The noise will pass, like every wave. What remains is this: the son who came without demands, and the son who didn't come because his terms weren't met. We all know which version looks worthy. We all know why the second is easier when you measure life in stakes and returns. And the moral: no discounts, no payment plan. You don't discuss love with security, you confirm it with a doorbell. As long as Harry wires a 3-point spec sheet to his ring, he's buzzing an empty stairwell. Meetings with fathers aren't won by haggling. They're won by the unconditional. Everything else is a lovely, costly, pointless noise hiding behind the word privacy, and it ends the same way every time. No one owes anyone, and the time you might have spent together is gone. Not today. Harold isn't a palace sneer. It's the world's answer after growing tired of being an extra in your endless show. When you stop writing conditions, you'll start hearing voices. When you stop selling truth, you'll start receiving it. When you stop demanding status, you'll start earning respect. Until then, every reconciliation week closes with the same footnote: no meeting, terms rejected, son did not come.